this video, I'm going to go over the toolbar buttons inside DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to try to explain it as best I can and then show you how you can implement it inside of your own workflow, both to speed things up and make things easier for your editing. Let's jump right in. Jumping inside DaVinci Resolve here, I've got the Edit tab open and I've already got a few of these clips on the timeline to try to best demonstrate the toolbar icons, options, whatever you want to call them. The toolbar that I am talking about is this area right here. I'm just going to quickly briefly go over what each one does. So over here, this is our timeline viewing options. So we can choose between stacking. So that means that we can add different timelines, like Google Chrome tabs. So here specifically, it's basically like you're in Google Chrome, you can switch between different tabs and you'd have different timelines. Or you can do that plus stack the timelines. So to do that, we're going to come over here. This is to add an extra timeline down here. We want to bring this up a bit. And now you can have 2 timelines, you can add more, 3, you can, if you've got a massive monitor, you can do quite a few, but that's how you do that. And using these, doing it with tabs for these timelines is actually really useful to jump in and out of different timelines and keeping track of things. But just for this example, I'm going to come back and turn this off. There's a bunch of other settings in here that you can customize your track heights for your video and audio. Although I do this by using shift scroll wheel on both of them. It's just a quicker version to customize all of that. Next, we've got our keyframe showing our adjustments and things that we're doing with the keyframes. So it will show specifically where certain keyframes are so that you can tweak them and all that. And this icon here is so that you can record audio. You can record straight into DaVinci Resolve doing voiceovers and stuff. They've made it really simple and easy to do, so you don't need any third-party softwares or anything. It's just all in here. You just hit that and you record your voiceover. Awesome. That's there if you need it. Jumping over to the next one, this is selecting what our mouse adjustments are going to be doing on the timeline. By default, it should be selected on just normal pointer, clicking, controlling, all that sort of thing. But we can change between our slip and slide tool. What the slip and slide tool does, I'll quickly trim this to show an example. If you've got a clip that's already cut, in that clip there's the start and the end which aren't included, but you can be moving in between that duration of the clip. So the slip and slide tool allows you to click and drag. Oh, some funny glitchy business going on there. You can click and drag, and basically on the left hand side, I wonder if I can bring that up. Top left hand side is the starting, top right hand side is the ending of this specific clip. And you can basically, as you can see down on the timeline, you can slip and slide where your clip starts and finishes. This is awesome because it doesn't affect anything else on the timeline. Slip and slide, it's awesome. Anyway, jumping into the next one is the blade tool. Do not ever use the blade tool. Just select split clips and set it as a keyboard shortcut. So much faster. But the blade tool is essentially split clips where it turns your mouse into a little blade and you can go through and you cut up your stuff. Super inefficient. I do not recommend doing it like this at all. But it's there. You know, need to cover it. Now this is going into our kind of adding clips into the timeline. So we've got over here our insert clip, overwrite clip, replace clip. What each of these do. So if I've got insert clip, that is going to insert whatever I've got selected in the media pool. So let's say we've got the cat feeding here and I want to insert it over here. I will press insert clip and it's going to insert the clip which I've got selected in the media pool of the cat feeding. Now to make things a bit easier, I'll close Inspector so that we can see what's in the media pool and what's in the timeline. If you don't know about that, video is linked somewhere. That was the previous one. Make sure to watch that. Otherwise you're going to be missing out on information you won't understand. So that's inserting a clip. Now let's say this particular, I'll quickly undo that. Now let's say this clip here, I want to replace it with the clip I've got selected. I'm going to do the overwrite clip. So when I click this, it's going to take the clip in the media pool which is selected and put it over the top. Just like that. Doesn't perfectly fill in the gap, but I'll show you a before and after. So it completely overwrites. So in this case, you'll want to go and select the one, and you only want a little bit, so you go in and out, and then you'll go overwrite, and now it's only just that little section. That one's, I never use that one because it can really mess with your timelines, but overwriting a clip, that's an option there. We're just going to cover all the timeline things. Anyway, and next we have got the replace clip. This is the one I think I was thinking of for the overwrite. I use this one every now and again, so let's say I want to completely replace this clip. I've got the one selected in the media pool already, and we'll just go replace, and it just specifically fills in that gap. So I'll undo that. Specifically just fills in. So I'll do another example. I'll do this one right here. I'm going to go overwrite, and it specifically fills in that the gap that the other clip had with the new clip which you're inserting from the media pool. This is really, really useful. When you get the hang of it, it's an absolute game changer, but that's what those ones do. Next, we've got our magnetic snapping. What this means, so at the moment I've got it on because it's really nice to have on. It will automatically snap, as you can see, between each cut, each marker, anything which it can snap to. It makes editing and selecting precisely the starting and things of clip endings and all that really, really easy. And if I turn it off, then there's no snapping at all. It's a little bit more fluid. I've actually got a keyboard shortcut to turn this on and off all the time, because sometimes I'll turn it off to get really precise cuts, because the magnetic tool can affect the duration of clips because it will automatically snap to something. But having it on when you're doing all the normal editing, because it makes things faster, makes things also easier to find or get to certain spots. So that's the snapping tool, magnetic. This one here is very important. This is the media linking kind of toggle on and off. Right now, this video clip and this audio clip, they are linked. Now let's say for some reason inside of an edit I needed these unlinked because I only needed video, or I only needed audio from this. So I can go and I can right click and I can go and untick link clips, or I can come up here and I can press that, and now these are separate. All of these will also be separate, so it's a bit dangerous to use this. I suggest that you only use it via doing this, because that way, turn that back on, that way you're only affecting the clip that you're editing. So if we keep this on, all of these are still all linked, but you're able to have these separate. But now I'm going to go and link them again. So basically this just toggles on having all of the clips linked or not. Don't play with that one, and if you are going to do it, make sure to do it via link clips when you right click. The next one on the toolbar, the timeline toolbar, is locking position. So this one here, all this means is you're locking the tracks pretty much. You can't do anything. It's just going to lock it. I don't use that one insanely much. I normally just come over here and I disable or lock the track myself like that, because then I can isolate specific tracks. But let's say that you were doing something and you needed to, you can lock it just up there. Makes things not being able to move. Awesome. Next up in here we have got our flags and we've got our markers. They set a marking point on your timeline. So let's say right here I wanted to leave a marker, either because I want to come back to it or I want to add something to it. You can actually click into there, you can press M, that will open up the little menu, and you can type something like delete this clip, and we might go red for delete, and we go done. Now I've got a marker there, and you can click these to put down markers. You can use a little arrow to set the color automatically, so like purple. You can choose between all sorts. That's the markers. I'm going to go and clear all of them. But if you have a clip selected and you press marker, you can actually mark the clip as well. And then next, moving along, we've got our timeline zooming in and outs. So these are the defaults. This one here is going to zoom to fit everything. So let's say I was like over here, it's like, I really quickly need to just see the extent of the timeline. Click this and it's gonna fit things so that you can see the start and the end on your screen. If I do this one here, it's going to be a detailed zoom. Is that what they call it? Haha, it is. Cool. Detailed zoom. So we can click this and it's going to be a little bit more of a easy editable sort of, view on your timeline. And then this one here is whatever we were at before. So we've got boom boom and then whatever I had earlier. And this little slider here, you can either press the minus or the plus, or you can grab the slider in the middle to just make it a little bit faster. Although personally I use the Alt and the scroll key. It should be default on every single machine. If you hold down your Alt key and you use your scroll wheel, you're doing what you'd be doing here, but with your scroll wheel, and you get way more, as you can see, like whee. Just moving over here, we've got our the audio like headphone output for when you're editing inside DaVinci Resolve. Don't muck around with this. Keep it as it should, because then you get a full proper mix. And you can click on this to mute everything. Or something really cool, I don't actually know the use case for this, but this dim button here, what this does is it halves or quarters the volume that you're getting. So if you're playing stuff and there's music and all that, when you press dim, it still lets audio through, but not as loud. This is one of the first kind of features that I was playing around with when I first started learning DaVinci Resolve. I don't actually know what the use case is for this, but it's there. Maybe if you're watching through an edit and someone behind you starts talking, you can do that and everything is still playing and you can hear everything, but it's quieter. But yeah, so that's there. And of course you've got your audio metering levels and all that sort of good stuff. That is the toolbars on the timeline. Hopefully everything sort of makes sense. It was a little bit on the fly there. Let me know in the description what your favorite tip was and whether there's anything that you need clarification on. There's a lot in there in itself to start using when you're editing, and just dive into that, play around with it so you get to know the tools. And this is a good segue to go into extra support. If you're wanting extra support from me, like one-on-one talking and asking questions, I've gone and created a completely free Discord server, which you can join, and I believe it's in the description. And in there you not only get to ask me a bunch of questions, but I've got a few other members in there which are all learning DaVinci Resolve, asking questions as well, and you can just basically get all your things answered one-on-one inside of there. So go join that and make the most of it. But other than that, make sure to subscribe and like the video. And over here, you're going to learn all about track headers and track types, both audio and video.